Hello everyone. Welcome back to the Life Lessons channel, where we explore deep life lessons through the teachings of Buddha. In today's video, we're going to talk about how to find peace amid life's challenges, an incredibly relevant topic, especially in this ever-changing world. But before we begin, I'd like to ask you a question. When facing difficulties, what do you usually do to maintain peace of mind? Feel free to share your answers in the comments below. Buddha teaches that life is not always smooth. And surely each of us will face trials, suffering, and hardships. But the important thing is that we can maintain peace in our hearts even when faced with these storms. The question is, how can we still find peace amidst these challenges? According to Buddha's teachings, each of us has the ability to find peace within ourselves, even when external circumstances are difficult. We can't always change what's happening around us, but we can change how we face it. This is one of the most important lessons Buddha teaches. Imagine you're in a tough situation, maybe an issue at work, with your family, or in a relationship. Often, we get swept away by negative emotions like anxiety, anger, or fear. These emotions can make our minds feel chaotic and exhausted. However, Buddha teaches that to maintain peace during these times, we must learn to control our minds and not let emotions take over. Buddha also teaches that everything in life is impermanent, joys as well as sorrows, success as well as failure. Everything can change in an instant. When we accept this impermanence, we can more easily let go of unnecessary worries and embrace life as it naturally flows, rather than resisting it. In this video, we'll explore methods from Buddha's teachings to help our minds remain strong and peaceful, even when life presents challenges. We'll learn how not to get swept up by negative emotions, how to practice mindfulness and compassion in difficult situations, and how to live in the present moment to find peace in every situation. Before we dive into the main content, don't forget to hit the like button, share this video with your friends, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on upcoming videos. Together, we'll learn and apply Buddha's wisdom to find true peace and happiness. Now, let's explore these valuable lessons from Buddha's teachings to maintain peace in any circumstance. If you find this video helpful, please share it with those you care about, and don't forget to subscribe to Life Lessons for more videos on Buddha's wisdom and life lessons. Leave your answer in the comments and let us know how you maintain peace when faced with challenges. Part 1: Accepting the Impermanence and Challenges of Life. In this life, there is a truth that we all know, but it's not always easy to accept. Everything changes. Everything is impermanent. Buddha teaches that this world is not a fixed place, but a continuous flow of endless changes, ranging from the utmost joy to deep sorrow, from success to failure. But how can we live in peace in such an unstable world? Accepting the impermanence of life is the first step toward finding peace in our hearts when facing difficulties. When we realize that challenges and hardships are inseparable parts of life, we are more likely to accept them instead of resisting them. Challenges are opportunities for growth and development. When facing difficulties, instead of worrying or fearing, we should remember that everything will eventually pass, and we will learn something valuable from it. Buddha taught that suffering in life comes from our attachment to the impermanent. We become attached to relationships, fame, material wealth, and unrealistic expectations of ourselves and the world. When these things change, when they no longer align with our desires, we feel pain, disappointment, and confusion. But if we understand that everything has a beginning and an end, that all joy and sorrow are merely moments in the endless flow of life, we will more easily let go and live with compassion and inner peace. Imagine a rainstorm. When it arrives, everything becomes wet and uncomfortable. But the rain is just a part of the natural cycle of the earth and sky. We cannot resist it, and if we understand that the rain will pass, we won't feel uncomfortable or disappointed. Life is just the same. The hardships and challenges we face are like storms in our journey. When we realize that they will eventually pass and that we can learn from them, we no longer feel overwhelmed or lost. So how can we face challenges and difficulties in life? First, we need to learn to observe without judgment. Buddha taught that everything arises and passes according to the laws of the universe. When a challenge arises, instead of reacting immediately with negative emotions, we should observe it calmly. This means we don't let emotions control us, but instead ask ourselves, what is happening? Why is this happening? What can I learn from this? When we see challenges as opportunities for learning, we no longer feel fear or anxiety. Every difficulty becomes a precious lesson. An opportunity for us to grow and develop. Buddha teaches that suffering is not bad, it's part of the process of awakening. When we go through suffering, we have the chance to look deeply into our own minds and recognize the areas where we have yet to grow. A simple example is when we learn a new skill. At first, it may feel difficult and frustrating because we cannot do it perfectly right away. But if we don't give up, if we persist and learn from our mistakes, we gradually improve. Life is the same. Difficulties are not obstacles, but lessons for us. Sometimes, we must go through these trials to uncover hidden strengths within ourselves that we never knew existed. Buddha also taught that every difficulty has its cause, and when we understand the cause, we can more easily resolve the issue. This means that instead of focusing solely on the immediate problem, we need to look at it from a broader perspective, from the viewpoint of someone who is awakened. When we clearly understand the impermanence of all things, we will no longer worry or fear when facing challenges. Accepting the impermanence and hardships of life also teaches us how to let go. When we let go of unrealistic expectations and attachments, we feel lighter, not burdened by worries. Buddha taught that letting go is not about abandoning responsibility or avoiding difficulties, but about not allowing those things to control us and take away our inner peace. Thus, rather than facing challenges with anxiety or fear, we can face them with calmness and a deep understanding of impermanence. When we accept that all hardships are part of the flow of life, we no longer feel stuck or lost. Instead, we can experience freedom and peace in every moment, even during the most difficult times. Part 2. Practicing mindfulness, living in the present moment. In a world where we are constantly pulled in many directions, it's easy to get lost in the past or worry about the future. Our thoughts often wander back to things that have already happened or leap ahead to potential fears and anxieties about what might come. But as Buddha teaches us, the key to inner peace lies in something much simpler, living in the present moment through the practice of mindfulness. Mindfulness, or Channim in Buddhist teachings, is the art of being fully present, aware, and conscious of each moment without judgment. It is a powerful tool for cultivating peace amidst life's uncertainties. When we face challenges, it's natural for the mind to drift to past mistakes or future fears. However, this tendency to dwell on what has been or what might be is what keeps us trapped in cycles of stress, regret, and anxiety. Buddha's wisdom shines through in his advice: don't fear the future, don't let the past cause you suffering, only the present moment is what you can change. This teaching points to one of the most profound truths in life: our power lies in the now. But how do we live in the present moment? How can we cultivate mindfulness in a world that constantly demands our attention, pushing us to think about everything except the present? The key is in learning to focus our attention on what is happening right now, in this very moment. When we practice mindfulness, we begin to observe the present with full awareness. We notice the sensations in our bodies, the sounds around us, and even the thoughts that arise in our minds. We do so without judgment, simply acknowledging things as they are. This moment-to-moment awareness helps us let go of the grip that past regrets and future fears have on our hearts. Take a moment right now to check in with yourself. How do you feel? What thoughts are running through your mind? Can you sense the air around you, the ground beneath your feet, or the rhythm of your breath. These seemingly simple practices are the core of mindfulness. They help anchor us to the present, making it easier to confront whatever challenges life may throw our way. Buddha also taught that suffering arises from our attachment to things that are impermanent. When we hold on to past experiences, emotions, or situations, we prevent ourselves from embracing the fullness of the present. Our attachment to the past brings with it regret and sorrow, and our anxiety about the future keeps us from fully living in the moment. Mindfulness, therefore, is not only about living in the present but also about releasing our attachment to things that no longer serve us, whether they are past memories or future worries. Consider the example of a person holding tightly to a rope. If they are afraid of falling, they grip the rope even harder, but the tighter they hold, the more strain they put on their hands. This is a metaphor for how we often cling to things in life. We fear change, we fear loss, and we cling to what we know, even though it might be causing us pain or stress. But mindfulness teaches us to let go of that grip. By letting go, we release ourselves from the burden of past attachments and future fears, allowing us to experience freedom in the present moment. Mindfulness also helps us develop a new relationship with our thoughts. Instead of identifying with our thoughts and allowing them to control us, mindfulness enables us to observe our thoughts from a distance. We begin to see that thoughts are just thoughts, they come and go, but they do not define us. By practicing mindfulness, we can stop ourselves from being swept away by negative or repetitive thoughts that may cause us suffering. This allows us to regain control over our minds and restore inner peace. In the midst of challenges, mindfulness becomes even more crucial. When faced with adversity, we often react impulsively, out of fear, anger, or frustration. These reactions are typically driven by our emotional attachment to the situation, and they make us lose touch with the present. However, if we take a deep breath and ground ourselves in mindfulness, we can respond with greater clarity, compassion, and wisdom. Instead of reacting in haste, we learn to respond thoughtfully, bringing peace to both ourselves and those around us. Let's take a moment to reflect on how mindfulness can help us in our daily lives. Imagine you are facing a difficult conversation with a colleague, or perhaps dealing with a personal challenge. In those moments, it's easy to become overwhelmed by emotion. But if you practice mindfulness, you can choose to pause, take a few deep breaths, and bring yourself back to the present moment. You can observe the emotions that arise without judgment, and decide how to respond with kindness, patience, and wisdom. This practice not only helps in reducing stress, but it also enhances your ability to make wise decisions and act with integrity. The practice of mindfulness extends to everything we do, eating, walking, working, even sleeping. Every action, no matter how small, can be an opportunity to practice being present. When we eat, we can savor each bite, appreciating the taste, texture, and nourishment it provides. When we walk, we can feel each step, appreciating the ground beneath our feet. These simple acts, when done with mindfulness, help us cultivate a sense of peace and connection to the present moment. Buddha's teachings remind us that the only moment we truly have is the one we are living in right now. Everything else, the past and the future, exists only in our minds. By cultivating mindfulness, we stop living in the shadows of our memories or the uncertainty of what is to come. We step into the light of the present, where peace and clarity reside. Mindfulness is not something that comes easily or instantly. It is a practice, something we must cultivate day by day. But over time, the rewards are immense. When we begin to live more fully in the present, we will find that peace is not a distant goal but something we can access in every moment, no matter the circumstances. As Buddha said, "When you realize how perfect everything is, you will tilt your head back and laugh at the sky." This is the essence of mindfulness, seeing the beauty in the present moment, even in its imperfections. It is a call to embrace life as it is, without resistance, without attachment, and with the understanding that each moment is a gift. Part 3, letting go and forgiveness. One of the most profound teachings in Buddhism is the power of letting go. Letting go is not about surrendering or giving up. It is about releasing the negative emotions that tie us down: anger, resentment, fear, and anxiety. These feelings, when held onto, prevent us from experiencing true peace. Buddha teaches us that forgiveness is not simply a gift to others, it is, in fact, a gift to ourselves. When we forgive, we free ourselves from the heavy burdens of the past and open the path to peace and tranquility. In today's world, it's easy to become burdened by the weight of grudges, anger, and unresolved pain. We may hold on to past hurts, replaying them in our minds over and over, feeling like we are justified in our anger. But Buddha teaches us that holding on to these emotions is like holding a hot coal in our hands, hoping to throw it at someone else. It only burns us in the end. Holding on to resentment, anger, and grudges may seem like a form of control, but it actually takes away our freedom and peace. Let's explore how the act of letting go can bring us peace. And how forgiveness, often misunderstood, can be one of the most liberating actions we can take, not only for others but for ourselves. Letting go of negative emotions. Imagine you are walking along a beautiful path, but your hands are full of heavy stones. These stones are the negative emotions we carry with us: anger, fear, sadness, regret. With every step, the burden grows heavier. But what if we could simply put down those stones? What if we could stop carrying the weight of those emotions that only weigh us down, preventing us from enjoying the beauty of the journey? This is what Buddha encourages us to do. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting or ignoring what happened. It doesn't mean excusing bad behavior. Letting go means choosing not to let those experiences control our present moment. It's about finding freedom from the past so that we can live more fully in the now. The first step toward letting go is recognizing that we are holding on to something. Often, we carry these negative emotions unconsciously, not realizing how much they affect us. We think that by holding on to our anger or resentment, we are punishing someone else, but in reality, we are only punishing ourselves. Every time we replay that moment of hurt, we relive the pain and feed it, making it grow. Buddha teaches that everything in life is impermanent. Just as our emotions come and go, so too do the situations that cause us pain. Holding on to negative emotions is like holding on to a piece of the past that no longer serves us. If we hold on to it too tightly, it prevents us from moving forward. By practicing mindfulness and becoming aware of what we are holding on to, we begin to loosen our grip and allow those emotions to pass naturally, just as clouds drift away in the sky. Forgiveness. A gift to yourself. Forgiveness is another essential part of letting go. In many cases, we think that forgiveness is a favor we give to others, that by forgiving, we are absolving them of their wrongdoings. But in reality, forgiveness is a gift to ourselves. When we forgive, we free ourselves from the chains of resentment and bitterness that bind us to our pain. Forgiveness doesn't mean that we condone or approve of what happened. It doesn't mean that we forget the wrongdoing or ignore the harm caused. Instead, forgiveness is about releasing ourselves from the mental and emotional chains that tie us to those experiences. It is a conscious decision to no longer let the actions of others control our emotions or our peace of mind. Buddha speaks of forgiveness in a way that is transformative. He tells us that holding on to anger or resentment is a form of self-imprisonment. It's like being stuck in a room with the person who hurt us, but the only key to the door is in our own hands. When we choose to forgive, we unlock the door and set ourselves free. We stop giving the person or the situation power over us. We stop reliving the hurt and instead choose to live in peace. The healing power of letting go and forgiveness. Letting go and forgiveness are not easy. They require courage, compassion, and deep inner strength. But when we embrace these practices, we begin to heal. Holding on to grudges and anger only causes more suffering, not just for the person we are angry with but for ourselves. We are the ones who suffer the most when we carry the weight of unresolved emotions. Think of it like carrying a heavy backpack filled with rocks. Every time we add a new rock, whether it's anger, resentment, or guilt, the weight increases. At first, we might not feel it, but over time, the burden becomes unbearable. The more we carry, the more tired and overwhelmed we become. But if we choose to let go of the rocks, one by one, we feel lighter, freer, and more at peace. Forgiveness allows us to put down that backpack. It gives us the freedom to move forward, unburdened by the past. It creates space for healing, for peace, and for new possibilities to emerge. When we forgive, we are not just letting go of the past, we are creating room for a brighter future, one where we are not constantly weighed down by the wounds of yesterday. Letting go to open the path to peace. The act of letting go and forgiving is not a one-time event. It's a continuous process that we must practice daily. Each time we feel anger, resentment, or sadness arise, we must ask ourselves, do I want to carry this with me, or am I ready to let it go? Each time we forgive, we release a little more of the past and open ourselves to the present moment, where peace can be found. Buddha's teachings remind us that life is constantly changing. Everything is impermanent. And this includes our emotions. When we let go of the things that no longer serve us, whether it's anger, fear, regret, or guilt, we make space for the things that do serve us, love, compassion, peace, and joy. Forgiveness is one of the most powerful tools we have to create this space and live a life that is free from the burdens of the past. In the end, the act of letting go and forgiving is not just about freeing others, it is about freeing ourselves. It is about choosing peace over pain, love over resentment, and freedom over bondage. It is about recognizing that we are the only ones who have the power to release ourselves from the past and embrace the present moment. Buddha's teachings on letting go and forgiveness are profound because they remind us that peace is not something external, something that comes from the world or other people. Peace is something we cultivate from within. It is a choice, and that choice is ours. Part 4, Finding Peace Through the Practice of Compassion. In the face of adversity, there is a profound practice that can transform our suffering into peace, the cultivation of compassion. Compassion, as taught by Buddha, is not just a feeling of pity for others, but a deep, active response to the pain we see in the world, starting with the pain within ourselves. It is a powerful antidote to suffering, an emotional and spiritual balm that heals not only others but also ourselves. When we develop compassion, we unlock the door to genuine peace, peace that isn't fleeting or circumstantial, but peace that is enduring, grounded in kindness, empathy, and selflessness. The practice of compassion is a key element in Buddhism that leads to the alleviation of suffering. It's a practice that reminds us of the interconnectedness of all beings and encourages us to act with love and kindness, even in the most challenging of circumstances. It is through compassion that we find the strength to rise above our own suffering, to extend a hand to others, and to embrace life as it is, with all its difficulties and imperfections. Understanding compassion, a bridge between self and others. At its core, compassion is the ability to deeply understand the suffering of others and respond to it with empathy and care. But Buddha teaches us that compassion begins within. It's not merely about reaching out to others, it's about turning our attention inward and offering kindness to ourselves first. In a world that often teaches us to be hard on ourselves, Buddhism calls us to practice self-compassion, treating ourselves with the same understanding, care, and forgiveness that we would extend to others. When we face challenges, it's easy to fall into a mindset of self-criticism, of feeling inadequate or unworthy of happiness. But the practice of compassion teaches us to be gentle with ourselves. It invites us to recognize that our suffering is a part of the human condition, just as others experience pain and hardship. Just as we would console a friend in pain, we must learn to console our own hearts. By embracing self-compassion, we begin to heal the wounds within, allowing us to open our hearts more fully to the suffering of others. Compassion as a transformative power. Compassion has the power to transform both our internal world and the external world around us. In Buddhism, the act of cultivating compassion isn't just about offering help to others, it is about actively transforming our inner state from one of fear, anger, or resentment, into one of love, understanding, and kindness. Buddha teaches that when we are able to look at others through the lens of compassion, we are less likely to react impulsively or negatively to their actions. Instead of being quick to judge, we become more understanding and forgiving. Take a moment to reflect. When faced with someone who is rude or hurtful, what is our immediate response? It is often to retaliate, to defend ourselves, or to feel anger rise in our chest. But if we pause for a moment and consider the possibility that this person, too, is suffering, perhaps even more than we are, the situation changes. Compassion allows us to see the deeper layers of pain in others, and instead of fueling conflict, it can transform hostility into understanding, separation into connection. Compassion also invites us to shift from a mindset of scarcity to one of abundance. In a world that often operates on competition and comparison, we may believe that if we give to others, we will have less for ourselves. But Buddha teaches us that compassion is abundant, it doesn't diminish us, it multiplies our capacity for love and joy. When we extend compassion, we often find that we receive it in return, creating a cycle of positivity and peace. This interconnectedness fosters an environment of mutual support, where all beings can thrive, not just survive. The power of compassion in action. While compassion begins with a feeling, it must also be expressed through action. Buddha's teachings encourage us to not just feel compassion, but to act on it in ways that alleviate the suffering of others. This doesn't always mean grand gestures or large acts of charity. Sometimes, compassion is expressed in small, everyday actions, a kind word, a listening ear, a helping hand. The simplicity of these actions can have a profound impact, both on the recipient and on our own hearts. Consider the act of listening. When someone shares their difficulties with us, simply listening with an open heart, without judgment or interruption, is an act of compassion. It may seem small, but for the person sharing, it can be a lifeline. By showing up for others in their moments of need, we are creating a space of peace, not only for them but also for ourselves. Through these acts of compassion, we are reminded that peace is not just an individual pursuit, it is something we create collectively, together with those around us. Compassion also teaches us to take care of our own well-being, to nurture ourselves physically, emotionally, and spiritually so that we can continue to offer love and kindness to others. Just as we cannot pour from an empty cup, we must fill our own hearts with compassion and care before we can offer it to others. When we practice self-care, we are better equipped to serve the world around us with genuine love and empathy. Compassion in the face of adversity. Perhaps one of the most powerful aspects of compassion is its ability to bring peace in the face of adversity. It's easy to be compassionate when life is smooth and calm, but true compassion is tested during times of difficulty. Buddha's teachings remind us that suffering is an inevitable part of life. But so is the opportunity to respond to it with compassion. In moments of hardship, instead of becoming overwhelmed by anger or despair, we can choose to look for opportunities to express compassion, both to ourselves and others. During challenging times, we can cultivate compassion by reminding ourselves that we are not alone in our struggles. Everyone faces pain, loss, and disappointment. By acknowledging our shared humanity, we can tap into a sense of solidarity that makes our own suffering more bearable. We can also use these difficult moments as opportunities to deepen our understanding of the interconnectedness of all beings. This perspective transforms suffering from something to be feared into something that can lead to growth, healing, and connection. Compassion and peace. Ultimately, The practice of compassion leads to inner peace. When we choose to act with compassion, we align ourselves with a deeper sense of purpose and meaning. Compassion connects us to the truth that all beings seek happiness and want to avoid suffering, just as we do. When we recognize this shared desire, we see beyond the superficial differences that often divide us. We begin to understand that peace is not a destination but a state of being, one that is nurtured by our actions, our words, and our intentions. By practicing compassion, we create a ripple effect that extends far beyond ourselves. When we extend love and kindness to others, we invite them to do the same, creating a network of peace that radiates throughout the world. As we cultivate compassion in our daily lives, we become not only a source of peace for ourselves but also a beacon of peace for others. Buddha's teachings on compassion remind us that true peace does not come from external circumstances, but from the cultivation of an open heart. It is through compassion that we break down the walls of separation and open the doors to understanding, connection, and love. In this way, compassion becomes not just a practice but a path, one that leads us to a deeper, more enduring peace that transcends all challenges and hardships. Part 5. Cultivating the mind through meditation and silence. In the bustling world we live in, it is easy to become overwhelmed by external chaos and internal noise. However, there is a simple yet profound practice that has been cherished for centuries in Buddhism as a way to reconnect with our inner peace: meditation. In the teachings of the Buddha, meditation is not merely a technique for relaxation or mental clarity, but a deep spiritual practice that transforms the way we interact with our thoughts, emotions, and ultimately, the world around us. It is a gateway to lasting peace, especially during the storms of life. Meditation, or dhyana in Sanskrit, is often regarded as the art of calming the mind. But its true essence lies in transcending the mind altogether. The Buddha teaches us that the mind is like a turbulent sea, endlessly tossing waves of thoughts, desires, fears, and attachments. Meditation, then, becomes the means by which we calm the waters, allowing us to find stillness and clarity amidst the storm. It is through this stillness that we reconnect with the deepest truths of existence and rediscover the peace that resides within all of us. The essence of meditation: a path to self-discovery. At its core, meditation is not about escaping the world, but about fully engaging with it from a place of inner calm. When we sit in meditation, we are invited to turn inward, to observe our thoughts and emotions without judgment, and to simply be present with whatever arises. This practice is not about achieving a particular state or outcome, but about creating space to experience reality as it truly is. One of the most profound aspects of meditation is its ability to quiet the mind. In Buddhism, the mind is often likened to a monkey, jumping from one thought to the next, rarely settling in any one place. This constant fluctuation creates restlessness and discontent, leading us to become caught in cycles of worry, fear, and attachment. Through meditation, we can learn to tame this monkey mind. Rather than being carried away by every passing thought or emotion, we develop the ability to observe them with detachment, allowing them to come and go like clouds in the sky. As we practice, we begin to notice that the mind is not as solid and permanent as we once believed. Thoughts are transient, feelings ebb and flow, and even the most intense emotions eventually fade away. This realization is the key to finding peace during life's challenges. Instead of identifying with our thoughts or emotions, we begin to recognize them as temporary and not representative of our true nature. This understanding creates a sense of freedom, as we are no longer at the mercy of our inner turmoil. Meditation and silence, the space between thoughts. Silence plays an essential role in meditation. In the noisy world we inhabit, silence can seem elusive and uncomfortable. Yet, in Buddhist practice, silence is a source of immense power. When we silence the mind through meditation, we create an inner sanctuary where peace can take root. It is in this silence that we reconnect with the essence of who we are beyond the noise of everyday life. The Buddha often emphasized the importance of silence, not just external silence, but the inner silence that comes from stilling the mental chatter. Meditation allows us to enter into this silence, where we can listen deeply to our inner voice. The voice of wisdom and clarity that is often drowned out by distractions. In the stillness of the present moment, we can hear the whispers of truth that guide us toward peace. It's important to note that silence does not mean the absence of sound or thought, but the ability to be present and aware without being disturbed by them. Even in a noisy room or a busy day, meditation teaches us to find a sense of calm within, a space of stillness where we are not disturbed by external events. This inner silence becomes our refuge. A place of peace we can carry with us wherever we go. The healing power of meditation. Meditation is not only a practice for calming the mind, it is also a healing process for the body and soul. The Buddha taught that suffering arises from attachment, aversion, and ignorance. Meditation helps us see these patterns clearly, allowing us to dissolve them through mindfulness and awareness. As we meditate, we create a space for healing, where we can release the emotional baggage, stress, and tension that accumulate over time. Scientific studies have shown that meditation has numerous benefits for mental and physical health. It reduces stress, lowers blood pressure, enhances emotional regulation, and improves overall well-being. From a Buddhist perspective, meditation offers the opportunity to purify the mind, freeing it from the poisons of greed, hatred, and delusion. It is through this mental purification that we come to experience true peace, peace that is not dependent on external circumstances but rooted in the clarity of mind and heart. The act of sitting quietly, breathing deeply, and observing the nature of our thoughts allows us to create space between stimulus and reaction. Instead of reacting impulsively to the ups and downs of life, we begin to respond with greater wisdom and compassion. This ability to pause before reacting is one of the greatest gifts meditation offers. It gives us the space to choose how we wish to engage with the world. Meditation as a daily practice. The key to experiencing lasting peace through meditation is consistency. It is not enough to meditate only in times of crisis or stress. To cultivate true peace, we must make meditation a regular part of our lives. Buddha's teachings remind us that meditation is not an occasional practice but a way of life. Just as we take care of our physical body by eating, exercising, and resting, we must also nourish our minds with regular meditation. Even a few minutes of meditation each day can make a profound difference in how we experience the world. It is not about achieving perfection or reaching a specific goal, but about developing the habit of returning to the present moment. Of letting go of distractions and connecting with the stillness that is always available within us. It is helpful to start with short periods of meditation, gradually increasing the time as we become more comfortable with the practice. Whether we meditate for 5 minutes or an hour, the benefits are cumulative. Over time, we begin to notice a shift in our perspective, a greater sense of calm, and an increased ability to handle life's challenges with equanimity. Meditation, a path to unshakable peace. Ultimately, meditation teaches us that peace is not something that we must seek externally, it is already within us, waiting to be discovered. The Buddha's teachings invite us to look inward, to connect with the present moment, and to let go of the mental patterns that keep us trapped in cycles of stress and dissatisfaction. Through meditation, we can awaken to the truth of our nature. A nature that is inherently peaceful, compassionate, and wise. In times of difficulty, meditation offers us a way to find stability and clarity, no matter how turbulent the world around us may be. It reminds us that we are not defined by our circumstances, but by our ability to respond to them with mindfulness, compassion, and wisdom. By practicing meditation, we step into a space of stillness where peace reigns, and from that space, we are able to navigate the challenges of life with grace and serenity. In this journey of life, Where uncertainty and change are constant, meditation provides us with the tools to cultivate an unshakable inner peace, a peace that is always with us, even in the midst of chaos. Through the practice of meditation and silence, we return to the present moment, reconnect with our true nature, and find the deep, lasting peace that we all seek. Conclusion: finding peace amidst life's challenges. Life is a journey that is never free from challenges, obstacles, and pain. But as we reflect on the teachings of the Buddha, we realize that although we cannot avoid suffering, we have the power to transform how we respond to it. The path to peace lies not in escaping the difficulties of life but in learning how to navigate them with a calm and open heart. By embracing the wisdom found in the Buddha's teachings, we can find inner tranquility, even in the most trying circumstances. One of the most profound lessons the Buddha imparts is the concept of impermanence. Everything we experience, whether it's joy or sorrow, success or failure, is temporary. When we come to understand this truth, we no longer cling to experiences or emotions, which naturally arise and pass away. This acceptance of life's impermanence helps us cultivate a deeper sense of peace. Instead of resisting what comes our way, we learn to face each moment with an open mind, understanding that even the most painful experiences will eventually give way to peace and clarity. Another essential practice in the Buddhist tradition is mindfulness, or sati. Mindfulness teaches us to focus on the present moment, without being lost in regrets about the past or fears about the future. This practice helps us center ourselves in the here and now, where true peace resides. By becoming aware of our thoughts, emotions, and actions, we learn to respond to life's challenges with wisdom, rather than reacting impulsively or being swept away by the chaos around us. In each moment, we have the opportunity to choose peace. Moreover, letting go of negative emotions, such as anger, resentment, or fear, is vital for maintaining peace in our hearts. The Buddha teaches us that holding on to such emotions only causes us suffering. When we practice forgiveness, both toward others and ourselves, we release the emotional burdens that weigh us down. Forgiveness is not an act of condoning harm, but of freeing ourselves from the grip of negativity. It is an act of liberation, allowing us to step into the lightness of peace and serenity. Equally important is the cultivation of compassion, or karuna. In the face of suffering, whether our own or that of others, compassion allows us to extend kindness, understanding, and empathy. By offering our hearts to others, we not only alleviate their pain but also open ourselves to a deeper sense of connection and peace. Compassion is the balm that soothes our wounds and allows us to transcend self-centeredness. It reminds us that peace is not something we attain in isolation but through our interconnectedness with others. Finally, meditation offers us the tools to transform our minds. As we sit in stillness and observe our thoughts and emotions, we come to realize that our inner world does not have to be a reflection of the external chaos. Through meditation, we learn to center ourselves, quiet our minds, and connect with the profound stillness that resides within each of us. It is through this practice that we begin to understand the true nature of our minds, not as a battleground of conflicting emotions, but as a vast, open space where peace can arise naturally. As we integrate these teachings into our lives, accepting impermanence, practicing mindfulness, letting go of negative emotions, cultivating compassion, and engaging in meditation, we begin to create a life that is rooted in peace. We learn that peace is not a distant goal but a way of being in the world. It is a state of mind that we can cultivate, moment by moment, thought by thought. I hope this video has provided you with valuable insights that you can apply in your daily life. Remember, no matter what challenges you face, you have the inner resources to remain calm, centered, and peaceful. The Buddha's teachings offer us a path to inner peace that is always available, regardless of external circumstances. If you found this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more wisdom on how to live a peaceful and fulfilling life through the teachings of the Buddha. May you find peace in each and every moment, and may your heart always remain open to the possibility of serenity.